Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 11/11 of 2024 Mother Mary Monthly Message. My name is Tamara Grace. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I'm happy and blessed to see and hear all of you that join on this call or look at it afterwards. A huge shout out to everyone in the world that is listening to me and Mother Mary about how to live a more loving life, how to have joy, how to share who we are and what we're about in the world in ways that are wonderful and uplifting. So in just a moment, you'll hear my voice change a little bit and I'll bring in Mother Mary. Her messages are always about how to perhaps have a perspective or view things that are going on in your life and in the world in a way that can bring you more clarity and more ability to make the decisions that are best for you. And so that's my desire. I don't know what anyone should do at any given time because it's hard enough to figure out what I should do at any given time. And Mother Mary isn't a psychic. She doesn't tell you what to do. But what she does do is offer a perspective from that higher realm that hopefully can help you maybe see things more clearly and give you some extra juicy hope, for the coming days. So hope you're comfortable. Well, hello to all my glorious humanity. Some of you may be wondering what's going on. What's going on? Why was there such an election as what happened just now? What's the meaning behind that? What's going on in the world? What are we all to do? And the first thing I want to tell you is breathe. Whatever your vote was, whatever your concerns are, whatever you're thinking about or worrying about or feeling, breathe. Because the reality is your system responds to your choices. Let me say that one more time. Your system responds to your choices. So if your choice was, instead of breathing, to get a little gasping and breathless about whatever you're worried about, the system itself lowers in frequency as if it had to sort of change your metabolism to deal with something that might be happening. It's a little bit like the preview to the flight, when people have, might or flight or attack or all that response. And so what happens is when you're not breathing, you are not allowing your system its full functionality and its full clarity. So the most important thing for all of you, whatever your belief, whatever your fear, whoever you chose, doesn't matter. When you breathe in and out in a systematic and powerful and loving way, whether it's through meditation or yoga or nature or walking or music or whatever your choices are, what you're doing is refueling your system. And your system is the most important thing you can take care of right now. Because once that system is functioning with its full capacity, you will then be able to respond and make the choices in whatever direction is right for you. And without that, again, you're sort of, running around, really fleeing from a danger that hasn't arrived yet. There is no tiger attacking you just yet. So breathing is really, really important. Along with that, add to your storehouse, just like in your pantry or your recipe book, add to that the calming music, the calming things that you like to read or watch, the calming activities that feel good to you, the physical choices that you would make for your body, whether that again is yoga, walking, whatever, because your system is ready to recalibrate to an even more powerful, more beautiful, more joyful, and healthier frequency. When lots of chaos happens in the world, there are many different responses that people have. One of them, as I said, it's like Henny Penny running around, the sky is falling. That does you no good. Others get focused and centered and ask, is there something that I could do to alleviate suffering, to help someone in this situation that they might be in? And still, before you even do that, if you calibrate your own system, you will have the clarity and you will have really the perspective about what exactly you might then choose to do. There's nothing more important right now. Please don't keep reading who said what to whom and what it means and what they might do or what they might not do. No one knows yet. No one knows yet. So don't go to all of these crazy so-called experts. What's happening is a recalibration. It's a recalibration. Those of you that study astrology, or those of you that are aware of the energy patterns of, all the sorts of things that are happening with light and energy, et cetera, focus on that. Recalibration is what is happening. And when you choose to align with that, when you choose to, as I said, do whatever you need to do for your body, do whatever you need to do for your heart and your mind, you will be able to rise in this recalibration with far more ease than if you try to figure something out in that very tiny forehead mind that so many of you sometimes go to. So what's happening in the world is that, I'll just try to put it as simply as possible. The dream of freedom and equality was not being fulfilled. I think all of you could sort of get that. Doesn't matter if it's US, Canada, France, Guatemala, Russia. The dream of freedom and justice was not happening. And so many people wonder, so how do we fulfill that dream? And what I want to tell you is you can't do it from the same mindset that created the obstacles you currently face, right? Just like Einstein said, right? You can't solve it from the same mindset that created it. So there is a recalibration energy available right now to everyone. It's already happening on a planetary basis. It's already happening energetically. There are already these beautiful streams of light that are coming down. Some of you are aware of them. Some of you might have read about them, but I promise you they are happening. And what they are doing is, in a way, a little like lightning strikes. They are coming into your heart and mind and body. And sometimes that can feel a little painful, but most of the time what it feels like is sort of coming out of a dream and coming out and saying, what's really happening here? So there is definitely some physiological side effects, if you will, of what's happening. Some people get headaches, some people get disoriented, all of that. But the answers, and that's why I'm trying to tell you very specifically tonight, the answer is really to take care of your system. Your system is sacrosanct, it is sovereign, and it is under your authority. Your authority, each of you, not mine, not the president, not anyone. It's under your authority. And so by instructing your system that you are choosing what is most loving for you, and then following that with the activities and actions and choices that represent what is best for you. Now what begins to happen is the physiology of your body can move out of the long-standing pattern with which it has survived, and eons of survival instincts. Move out of that and into this beautiful sovereign energy that is basically ready to create a planetary renaissance. So a planetary renaissance, what does it look like? We don't know yet, because what it will take is the architecture that each of you choose by recalibrating your own system, your own body, your own heart, your own mind, simply by saying, I choose what is the most loving and for the highest good for myself first. That's so important, so important. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing just yet. Because when you choose that recalibration, now what begins to happen is I'll just call it the divine in you says, oh, goodness gracious, they're finally saying yes. They're not worried about survival. They're not worried about, what if this happens or that happens. They realize when I am in my divinity, and that is instructing my humanity, all of my choices are for my highest good. And so from that sovereignty, and it is simple, not always easy, because your mind has been trained for centuries, eons really, to think about survival, to be armed for survival, to worry that someone's going to come and take what's yours, etc., etc. So to recalibrate the mind from survival to sovereignty, that is what you're doing. And sovereignty doesn't mean that you live by yourself and never speak to anyone. I'll talk about that in just a moment, but it is so important right now to realize the whole universe is ready to evolve. How wonderful. And do we have things that need to be fixed and amended and changed? Of course. But they have to be done from the higher mind. They have to be done from a place of clarity and love that is also based on justice and freedom for all. So first and foremost, breathe. Affirm for yourself, I choose that which is most loving and for my highest good.
Is most loving.
Then again, whatever the activities and choices are that correspond to that, do those. Now it's a little like weightlifting, those of you that are working out at the gym and stuff. It takes a little while for the body to believe you, because the mind has been so disrupted in so many ways, and the body was just trying to figure out who's on top. So by doing that, you, first of all, have a much happier experience in this life. And then you will have so much more to give and share, not from the perspective of pointing fingers and judging and blaming and all of that. That has to come to an end. You will function from this place of equanimity. You will function from this place of curiosity and inquiry and innovation. What could happen here? What could be done here? And you will no longer rely on outer authority to dictate to you what is best for you. Because in that place of sovereignty, there is something well beyond belief, well beyond thought. It is knowing. You will live from your knowing. And as beautiful Jesus said, know ye the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But it is not a truth in writing. It is not a political truth. It is not an environmental truth. It is a deep understanding that your purpose in this life is to birth the renaissance of humanity, which begins, of course, with you. It begins with you. It begins with you. And so this birth, like most births, has some labor pains. It does. It does. But the new vision that you will begin to have, it's a little like those of you that can see through your third eye and you see colors and auras and all these wonderful things, which is great. Now imagine directing that third eye vision into the world and just imagining, what could housing look like? What could schools be like? What could healthcare look like? What could neighborhoods look like? What could the new food supply look like? What could communities of caring look like? And when you start to look that way, you are not distracted by what you don't like, what isn't working, what is making you angry or upset or sick. The third eye, once fully activated, truly sees as God sees, which is the infinite potential that each of you have to birth yourself, your own life, that is glorious and lovely and wonderful and full of whatever joys you're choosing. But from that, because now the fuel of your sovereignty is so rich and wonderful, you have enough to share, enough to see, enough to feel, enough to hear, whatever is yours to see and feel and hear, and bring your attention to, and without which you function at a much lower frequency, trying to fix systems that really we would prefer not be fixed, but be changed. So a lot lies ahead, a lot lies ahead. And so much of it is beautiful and good. Because when you start to train your body, heart, and mind to sovereignty and to being a soul on a human journey, you see things from this place of, as I said, innocence, like becoming as a little child, as again, as Jesus said. Not without clarity, not without some level of wisdom, but without that analyzing judgment that has created so much divisiveness in the world. And so this truly is the season of change, the season of rebirth. And the fact that so much does seem to be rather chaotic isn't necessarily bad or good. It simply is. And so your job is really to sort of clear your mind, clear your heart, clear your eyes, and ask the question, first for yourselves, but then for the world. What would love do here? So it is not about resistance and reaction to what you don't want and you don't like, because now you're just battling in that old energy. It's about creation. And so I also invite you, because already there are examples in the world of truly glorious, innovative, heart-centered change. And so as you get into this, because it's perhaps not an overnight thing, begin to look for the other artists and architects and speakers and creators that aren't just pointing fingers. That's over. That's over. It's time for the new, for the innovation. I know Samara was sort of delighted, and maybe some of you also saw the story on Facebook of the Amish people from Pennsylvania, the master builders from Pennsylvania, who would get on a bus and go down to where the terrible devastation happened in Asheville and build tiny houses for the people.
Thank God.
Think about that for just a moment. That wasn't the government, and we're not blaming the government, but it's time to sort of look for innovation in other ways. The government really doesn't know how to be very innovative. But just imagine someone in Pennsylvania in the Amish community said, all right, let's get together and go down and build tiny houses. Who's with me? And they would pack up their little picnic baskets and their tools and go down and build tiny houses. So there's a lot that will happen in the coming days. And one of the wonderful things about the Amish people, and again, I'm not saying all Amish people are perfect and you should all go and convert and be Amish. But what I'm saying is they have a deep understanding that we're all in this together. We're all in this together. There isn't this group that's somehow separate or better or to whom nothing bad can ever happen. They just understand that, and they have a deep love of the land and of community and of helping each other. And again, there's many other religions that do the same, but I was so struck by the sweetness of seeing the bus arrive and the Amish people get out with their tools and start building. So I know it's almost time in US and many places for the holidays, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And what I want you to think about and to feel into is not necessarily to in any way leave off your traditional enjoyment of those holidays in whatever way you and your family like to enjoy them. I'm not saying that. But I'm inviting you to be a little innovative. So above and beyond whatever you already might be doing, how could you share some love with those for whom Thanksgiving might feel not quite so thankful? Or Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa? How could you bring a little extra love into some other group's experience of those holidays? Because the other piece of this that I think you'll begin to understand is that when there is a tremendous disparity in the world and that much unhappiness and sense of betrayal, it will only lead to negative outcomes. And so, again, if each person just decided, and again, there's so many ways you could do this, to buy an extra turkey or, whatever feels right to you. But I just invite you to consider in these holiday times, how could I be a bit more generous? How could I be a bit more generous? And just, again, whatever you feel guided in that perspective. So I hope that I've given you an understanding and some tools and ideas about how to move forward. And I think that there are many of you around the world that are struggling with, what do I do if I don't like what I see out there? And what I'm hoping you really understand tonight is, before you look at it through your old eyes, recalibrate yourself and look at it through your angel eyes, your God eyes. And then just realize the world is changing. The world is still struggling to figure out, how do we live on this small planet hurtling through space? How do we do that? How do we respect each other beliefs, countries, etc. How do we solve some of the difficulties where there is conflict that has existed for centuries? If you try to do that from the limited mind that has been a part of all of that, you cannot succeed. You cannot. Because the answers will come from your angel eyes and from all of the energies that are pouring down and from the new children. All throughout the world now are beautiful little, you call them rainbow children, crystal children, all of that. What does that mean? They came in to implement everything I'm talking about because they are not bound in the karmic patterns that most of you are still working so hard to let go of. They came in karma free. And so they're not stopped by, oh, that's how we've always done it, or that's too difficult, or you don't have a degree, or whatever, you know. But what they need more than anything are mummies and grandmummies and aunts and uncles and friends and mentors and teachers that say, I wonder what the world will be like for you. What would you like to see in the world? So that instead of fear-mongering, telling them to have active shooter drills, which I guess somewhat are still necessary. I'm not saying don't do that, but imagine instead of putting your children and grandchildren through something like that as a way to understand the world, to bring back vision and creativity and ideas such as were brought through by, let's say, Montessori, when he really changed childhood education. And again, I'm not saying everyone should go to Montessori. I'm just trying to give you an understanding that the educational system, the social systems, the healthcare systems, the business systems, all of it, they will change. But they will change slowly as each person in the world says, you know what? I'm going to build from love. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be innocent and loving. And if I have some extra time and energy and resources, I'll look out in my neighborhood or my community and say, I wonder who I could bless today. And then go and do it. Go and do it. Because the fracturing of the old requires a new infrastructure. Not necessarily in the same mode, but an infrastructure built from compassion, curiosity, love, caring, understanding, forgiving. And so as you, first of all, we're going to go through our teacher lesson one more time. First of all, do you be sovereign, invite the highest good, the greatest love for yourself. Choose the activities that nurture you, that fill your heart and mind with love. And then look around. Who could I bless today? How could I share some of my food, wealth, resources, etc.? Not to get brownie points. Not to get brownie points, but because that's the universe you want to live in. Please understand that. You live in a world of reward and punishment. You want to live in a world of compassion and co-creation. So don't do it for brownie points. Do it from love. I'll be with all of you, as so many of your guides and teachers are. So I love you all. I can't wait to see you on 12/12 and hear about how you spent the last month clarifying clearing, recalibrating, and becoming a sovereign soul. I send you much love. And for those of you that would like a private session with me, I'm happy to do that, because sometimes you just need a little vitamin boost. So please, if that's something you would like, just email Samara at samaragrace1111@gmail.com, and we will do a reading for you. Much love. Namaste.